Hello, ladies. Welcome, everybody. Gonna take just a few seconds to let people join. A couple of seconds early, and that's okay. I'm Twanna Carter, and I am an anxiety and career coach, and I coach women who are fed up with anxiety holding them back, and what they want is to get over the stress and the doubts to get their life back on track for success and happiness because you don't have to choose one over the other, right? So, again, I want to say welcome and thanks for joining me today. I'll be sharing about what exactly is high function anxiety, what it is, and what you can do about it, right? Do want to mention a couple of things because I have this routine that I do because I have social anxiety. So I like to go down a list because I have lists because lists make me happy. Okay. But they do. They do. I read Eat That Frog, so I don't have like 5, 10 lists anymore. I just have one, but lists make me happy. So say, there is a chat box. If you have questions and comments, you can drop them there. And I'm gonna put on my earplugs just to be sure that everybody can hear me. You can actually drop them in the chat box. And for those who catch me on the replay, as always, thank you for doing that. You too can leave your questions or your comments. I do circle back after the lives are over because I do appreciate you all for watching a replay, and I want to be sure that I answer your questions or tend to your comments as well, right? And always, I do have a couple of notes. You can see you may be to tell I'm coming from a different place. I've changed some things around, and I can see that I may need some lights next time, but we'll make it happen, right? We'll make it happen. I'm not the perfectionist that I used to be, so but still, I'll always like to do a little bit better. So I can see that I do. I didn't think that I would, but I think I do need some more light over here, right? So that being said, let's get started. Let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar to you? You're absolutely afraid of failing. In any given time, you're probably working on like 2 to 5 to-do lists, right? And everything has to be perfect. People depend on you to keep your word and do what you say you're going to do. And there's always stuff on your plate, right? Always stuff. Now, while people know they can depend on you because they'll drop the heavy taskers on you like at the last minute, and they'll give you the heavy lifts to get things done, but you don't really seem to like hang out with the people in the office. You're not really close to them, close to anybody, right? If you do have friends, it's because you often help them do things, solve their problem, get them over a hump, talk them off the ledge, and help them with their friends. But outside of that, your friends are not really that close. Does that sound familiar? Hmm. Okay. Now, what about this? Do you sometimes avoid like spending, I say, quality time, real time with people? For instance, family, friends, because you're so preoccupied with working down that list and getting things done. And do you feel guilty if you have extra time left? Like I should have something to fill up all my time, always, every second of the day. And if you don't, you just feel guilty that you're not like doing enough. Now, you've always got to be doing something, and yet just never seems you're doing enough. No matter how much you do, how much time you spend, how you whittle down that to-do list, you just go out and get some more stuff and put on it. And you just have like this enormous drive to succeed no matter what it takes, you're going to get things done. And that's why people like you. You're dependable, right? You're responsible. People tell you, like, oh, we're just responsible. She's got it going on. And in spite of all of that, do you feel like you still just never accomplish enough? It's just not enough. Or even if it was enough, it's never done quite well enough. You can always do it better. You should have done it better. There's a better way you could have done that. And maybe you should have said this, and maybe you should have added this, maybe you should have redone this little piece of it. Hmm. Okay. Now, afraid that if you're not perfect and you don't keep your hands in the pot and get all of this stuff done, that everything, if you make a mistake, your whole life like just falls to pieces. Your family falls to pieces. Your relationships fall to pieces. The job falls to pieces. Does that sound familiar at all? And what about this? Do you often have headaches? What about tummy aches? You often have stomach aches and you're like, oh, it's just probably something I ate that didn't agree with me. You know, what about do you fear when you're by yourself? Do you have like this overriding fear that actually causes you to get nauseous and sometimes even throw up? I know for me it was diarrhea. I will get diarrhea quite a bit, right? Does it even make you cry? Or one of my things was people didn't know, but do you have like this intense anger and rage because people keep dropping things on you and it never seems like you have quite enough time to get everything done? If any of this resonates with you, you may be a high functioning anxiety person, high functioning anxious person, right? So typically, we know anxiety when we see it, whether it's someone having a panic attack or someone having an anxiety attack. Sometimes, people just break out in a cold sweat, like my hands would be freezing cold, but I'd be pouring down sweat. People, you could visibly see I was having an anxiety attack. Sometimes we can just see that. You know it, other people know it, no matter how much you try to like get around it. Yeah, people know it. But sometimes you can really do a great job of keeping all of that secret. It's like the biggest kept secret in some people's lives that they're anxious. It's hidden, right? And this hidden form of anxiety is what we call high function anxiety, right? Because on the surface, it looks like you got it going on because you're like cool, you're calm, you collected, you're a mover and you're shaker, responsible. And people know that they can depend on you to get things done if they can't depend on anybody else. And if anybody else starts to kind of flake out, not show up, or say, it's just too much, it's too much stress, I got to take a break, I can't do this. You're like, no, they're like, yes, give it to her. She's got it. She's got this whole life together. And no one sees that on the inside, you are completely driven by fear, that you feel anxious and worried most days, more days than not. And sometimes, like I said, there's intense rage or there's intense fear or intense just anger, right? So many people who have high functioning anxiety are quite successful, right? And that's why people don't necessarily take a closer look because you're so successful. Nobody expects that you're grappling with worries and fear. You're successful. You got your hands in all the pots. You come on the scene. It's like things magically just happen and take place. So nobody questions whether or not you have anxiety. You're good, right? Right. Only thing is a lot of people with high functioning anxiety don't even know it's high functioning anxiety. One thing that they do know, often, especially when they get that alone time, which they try not to have, but they do, is they're not happy, right? That is one thing they know for sure. They are successful, yes. Happy, no. Not even content, because they're always so anxious and so fearful. Yeah, yeah. So again, people who are high functioning anxious, people just look upon you as something to be emulated, like they're so successful and they just get things done. And how do you get it all done? And so again, nobody questions whether or not you're in the bathroom crying or you're in the bathroom throwing up again, or the way I used to be, you're in the bathroom with diarrhea because you have so much anxiety, right? And no one even, they may remark kind of like you walk to the beat of a different drum. And I know this about me. Everyone else in the office will get together and go out and do things, and I was never invited. Now, at the time, I kind of sort of noticed, but I had all my lists and I was going down stuff and getting stuff done. But now that I look back, there were times that people would get out and go do something fun, and I was not in the fun having group. Do you notice that? Is that something that's familiar to you? And even if you are invited, do you always turn it down because I just got to do this one thing better, redo this piece of the project, get this better? I think I can do it better. Yeah, yeah. probably high functioning anxiety. And nobody sees the anxiety and nobody sees the fear because really good at hiding it. Very good at hiding it. Okay. And so, what really drives someone with high functioning anxiety is you're driven by fear that if anything goes wrong, if the littlest thing goes wrong, or if it's not perfect, everything just falls to pieces. It just all falls to pieces. And that's the piece that keeps you going. Like, it's got to be, I have to do this. I've got to stay on top. I got to stay on top. I got to stay on top. I have to, because otherwise my career is gone. My family's gone. And people are going to find out that I'm really anxious. People are going to find out that I have all this fear. So I have to keep it going. It just feels like if you mess anything up, you just lose it all. Right. But again, when people are standing on the outside looking in, you look great. And they'll even tell you that. They're so proud of you and just can't imagine how you get all those things done. And you're going like, help. But you just go, thank you. You smile and go, thank you. When all the time you're going, oh my God, please help me. I don't know what to do. It's like I'm spiraling out of control. I don't know. I can't rest. I can't sleep. Yes. Right. And while it sounds good to have people say, yes, you've done well, and yes, you do this so great, it would just feel much better if you could get rid of some of that anxiety and fear. Am I right? Yeah. So the problem with high functioning anxiety is in with any anxiety, left untreated, it just takes a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It takes a toll on you. Again, people with high functioning anxiety, successful but often not happy. Just not happy. Now, some people will self-medicate because they have secret anxiety. They also have secret alcohol use. Now, they may go out with a friend, go out with the group and drink a little bit and just be all, it's handled, it's pretty good. It's what everybody else is doing. But no one sees you at home just drinking away. Wine glass after wine glass after wine glass after wine glass. It's like, no, I don't have the little ones. I have like the thing where I can like pour half the bottle in there at one time. Some people do that, and some people it's beer, some people it's hard whiskey. For some people it's drugs. Whether it's people that go and get a prescription for drugs and then take the drugs with a little alcohol to get that buzz, or whether it's illicit drugs. Sometimes because you're hiding so much and you're being inauthentic to yourself, right? You do self-medicate for the anxiety, which is not really good, right? Okay. Now, if you can't sleep and you can't eat and you know for a fact that you are a female and you have more than 7 drinks per week, that's what it says. No more than 7 drinks in the week. Guys are a little different. They can get up to 14. If you know you're going over that every week, or you're like drinking 5 or 6 shots in one setting, and again, can't sleep, you can't eat, you just feel like you're full of dread, and it is starting to affect your mental health, I would highly suggest that you seek a professional mental therapist, right? That's where you're in that group. That's where you are if you have all those things going. Okay. Now, if you, or sometimes you can see your primary care physician. Some of them are well versed in mental health issues. They'll start you off and then say, hey, I recommend you go get some talk therapy. And sometimes they even have people on a list that they can refer you to. If that's a camp you're in, you're drinking too much, or that you were, especially if you were not drinking at all because you had quit and you started back and now you're drinking more, or you're doing illicit drugs, or you restarted that. Best thing for you to do is not a coach, right? Is a mental health therapist, because you need some help that's far deeper than what a coach is going to do for you, right? But if you're not in that category and you don't need a mental health therapist, then what you do need is an anxiety coach. And that's why I am in this space, right? I am in this space because there are people who are not, it's like, I don't need a counselor. I'm not there. I need something that's a step, away from going in, doing talk therapy and taking medications. That's not what I need right now. Okay. So yes, you will definitely find a coach, an anxiety coach specifically, or even mindset coaches. You will find great value in having a coach, an anxiety coach or a mindset coach, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm in this space. So why? Okay. Why would I find that valuable? Okay. So what I do when I work with my clients, the first thing I help them do for the high function is bringing down 1,000. I give you the strategies to bring the anxiety and take it off, take it down 1,000, maybe take it down to a 3,000. That's the first thing, because you have all this fear and you have all this anxiety that you need to come down. Because again, anxiety left unmanaged does take a toll physically on the body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? Mindset coaching also. I do a lot of mindset coaching because it's important, because you are having to do a shift in what you believe. Because your mindset now says that I have to do all of this and take on everybody else's stuff and do all of this and deal with the fear and deal with the anxiety. You can see my hand going off the camera. I got to do all of this just to be seen as normal, just to be okay. It is a mindset shift, right? Because we're going to bring you down and help you to understand that you don't have to do that. Also, a mindset coach will work with you so that you can find success and happiness and not an either or, because oftentimes high functioning anxious people have chosen success at the expense of happiness. You don't have to choose one over the other. You can actually have both, and that's part of what I do as an anxiety coach, anxiety and career coach. That's why I do both of those together. I also help you with time management. And along with the time management, we do boundaries, because probably you have none. If someone says, I need you to do this project, oh, you're so good at this, and I know I can trust you to get it done. I don't have to worry about it. No, you're going to give it your all. You're going to give it 300%. You don't have boundaries, so you take that on. Even if you're already full of stuff, you take it on, and then you struggle with time management, which then causes fear and anxiety and worry about not getting one of those 1,001 things on your list done because you're overwhelmed with stuff. So absolutely, I help clients do time management, and I also help you do the boundaries in it. You have to do both. You got to do both. You got to do the mindset, you got to do time management, and then you got to do the boundary work as well. Okay. Now, because oftentimes high functioning people are anxious, they don't have boundaries, and people know you're responsible. They know you're moving a shaker. You can't say no. And you have this fear of failure. You have a fear of failing, period. And then you have a fear of failing and disappointing other people, which is another reason why we do the boundaries work. We do the mindset work and we do the boundaries work, right? And the other thing that happens when you're high functioning, because you don't have boundaries and you kind of take on everything, you don't know how to put work down. It's difficult for you to put work down. If you do put it down, you feel guilty. And sometimes you're so guilty, you're like, I might as well just keep working. I don't have to deal with this guilt, right? Absolutely. So we do work on that, because again, it is a mindset shift to take it down 1,000, manage anxiety, clear up schedule to where you can do other things like relax, sleep, hang out with family, rediscover friends, rediscover family, and all without guilt. It can be done, and that is part of what I do as an anxiety and career coach with my clients who are high functioning anxiety. Okay. And also, the other thing that I do with my high functioning anxious people is I do confidence coaching, because the other, again, when you're looking in from the outside, people just think you have it all together and you do all these great, wonderful projects and you can do them so well. And they don't understand you're trying to do everything in the world because you don't have, your self-esteem is not where it needs to be, and you have low self-esteem, and sometimes you're trying to get other esteem by doing all this work. It's kind of part. And then when you have low self-esteem, of course you have low self-confidence. So I do confidence coaching as well. You got to have both of the pieces in there. So I work with you to help and see that you don't have to do things for people to be seen as valuable. Right? Your self-worth doesn't come from doing things for people. Your self-worth comes because you are who you are, and you are perfectly fine as you are, right? And so the last piece that I put in there is I help you achieve work-life balance, because we've done the mindset, because we've done the time management, and we put in the boundaries, and we've done the confidence coaching, right? All of those things help you to then achieve work-life balance without the guilt. And that's a big part of it. So what am I saying? At the end of the day, you can continue to be successful managing, as someone who's high functioning anxiety, because you get a little less on your plate does not make you not successful. You're still successful. You just get to enjoy it more. You get to savor it more. And your family will probably be happy to rediscover you again, right? It's always a plus. And again, it goes back to, I help women understand that you can be successful and happy at the same time. So again, why do we need to manage high functioning anxiety if they really look just way successful from the outside? Because it does take a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual toll on the body. And then the thing is often high functioning anxiety people, they are often successful, not always happy. And you don't have to choose one or the other. And that's what I help people do, again, by managing fear and that anxiety, bringing it down 1,000, helping you with time management, with the mindset coaching, setting in the boundaries at work, doing the confidence coaching piece so you can get that self-esteem and not trying to find it by doing things for other people or by trying to do everything perfect to raise your self-esteem. I do the confidence coaching piece of it so that that comes within, not from without. And after all of that, we put in, you achieve that work-life balance so you can be successful and happy. So that's what I have for you today. I'm looking over and I don't see any comments. Do feel free to drop your comments. You can drop them now or you can drop them later. And I hope that this was helpful for you. I told you today that I would talk about what a high functioning anxious person is and what you can do, right, to manage that, to help with that. So I think I did just that. And I kept up with my notes to be sure I got all the pieces in there, right? Again, I typically don't like to do speeches following notes because I like to come off the top of my head. I just feel more secure that way. But also can forget things. So that's why I like to go by my notes to be sure I give you guys everything. So again, if you enjoyed this live, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or make it a favorite. Feel free to share it with someone because either you will be the high functioning anxious person or you will know the person in your office or in your group who is, right? Share this live with them, share this video with them, and there is help. You can be successful and happy. You don't have to choose one or the other, right? So I'll be back here next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Central Time, 4:30 Pacific Time, and then 9:30 in the morning Sydney, Australia time. And I will be discussing ways to protect yourself from stress and anxiety caused by social media. Woo, a lot to unpack there, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, I like to say for those of you who catch me on the replay, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies. Take care. Bye-bye.